The critique is about my pronunciation of the word bonsai. And I want to tell you, all those pronunciations are wrong. Hi, I'm miltonchang of Bonsaiheirloom. It's a beautiful day, not too cold. We are starting to have cold nights now, around in low 40s or high 30s. This is time to enjoy foliage color. And Japanese maple tree is a particularly favorite bonsai material. The tree here is a so-called Osakazuki, which I think is in the colder part of Japan. And you can see this tree has beautiful red foliage, at least starting to. And then the other one, which is exactly bought at the same time, same variety, same graft, the foliage are really drying out. And I want to show you that for a couple of reasons. One is that you have to select trees that have good foliage color. Some of them don't. Some of them will have yellowish and just fade out. Some have brilliant red, like the ones in Kyoto gardens. And Osakazuki is the variety in Kyoto gardens. And yet, they grow in the same condition, the two trees. One has a little bit more water than the other one, and one has beautiful foliage. So not only do you have to select the right tree, you also have to provide a good environment. So you can modify that to somewhat by watering it carefully and all that. In Southern California, oftentimes a hot spell will kill all the leaves, and you really don't have fall color. But so you really do need colder and maybe more weather to get the good fall color. And so in the selection of bonsai heirloom trees, we try to select varieties which we will call BH select varieties later on for various trees that will have red foliage. So stay tuned, send us your mailing address so we'll notify you of trees availability and so forth. With that then, I want to remind you, click like if you think my video is informative, and give me some encouragement, and subscribe to our channel and tell a friend about our channel, and then send us email address. We'll send you material that's germane to your weather condition. The next thing is I'd like to encourage you to send me photos of your trees. I'm very interested. I want to really make sure that the Bonsai Heirloom Q&A really serve the broad interest of my audience. So I think one of the interesting things is to see what can be done to random trees that people send photos in. So I think part of the program we'll devote to is that you send me a photo of your tree that you're perplexed about how to do it, and I will try to maybe even add a little hand sketch or something to show you what it can be done, what it will become. I think that will be quite informative and educational, and I learn something from that, doing that every time. The Q&A, one gentleman has been quite persistent about 3 times, send me essentially the same email to say, or same comment to say that I pronounced it incorrectly. First of all, let me give myself an excuse for not pronouncing words properly. I have 2 tooths removed for implant, so in the meantime there are 2 holes. So I'm having a little difficulty enunciating properly. So please excuse me for another month or so, another 4 episodes, then I'll be all set. The second reason is that, you know, I didn't learn my English ABC until I was 12. So I'm a little bit disadvantaged in terms of pronunciation. That's okay, that's a silly excuse. But lastly, to be more serious, the critique is about my pronunciation of the word bonsai or bonsai or whatever it is. And I want to tell you, all those pronunciations are wrong. Just like my puppy Shih Tzu, it's a bastardized translation of 狮子. In Pekingese, where the dog originated, it means lion. And lion is 狮子, not Shih Tzu. But everybody calls a dog Shih Tzu, so it's Shih Tzu. So everybody calls it bonsai, so it's bonsai. But let's look at this. This is the modern bonsai in Japanese. And that's word bon, and that's a zai in kanji in Chinese. And 500 to 1,000 years ago, there were a lot of monks and scholars sent to China to be culturized. And when they went back, they took the Chinese words and translated them into Japanese, in a sense that the Japanese version pronunciation of the Chinese words. So let me pronounce it for you properly this time. Bong means pot. It's a pen. In Chinese, it's pen, not bong. It's a pen. Zai, and that's cai, right? That word means culture, growing, cultivate. That's word in Chinese is zai, peng, zai, not bonsai or bonsai. So let's get to clear the air. Let me pronounce it however I wait, because it's okay, because you got the message, okay? I'm having fun, sorry. Now let me go to this week's Q&A. The first question is what size wire should I use? I advocate thicker wire, not the little guy. You really don't need to wire the little branches. That really only makes 6 months or 3 months difference in the speed of developing the pads. So use thicker wire to wire the branches. So here's what I'll do. If you have a really long, thick branch, you really can't wire it without, really fighting it. So what I would suggest is to pull it down with guy wire and then wire the little other branches and add a little bit of twist to it. And that you use thicker wire. I would say the starting point is 1 millimeter thick. And so that's 18 to 20 gauge wires. And you use that as a starting point and go to the lower number. The lower number, the thicker the gauge. And then when you wire it loosely to bend it first. You bend it to past its yield point. So you really don't take much effort for the wire to turn it. So you bend it, and then you wire to hold it in place, and then you turn it again, you wire in place. And then remove them quickly, a month or two at most. It may bounce back a little bit, but generally it will stay put because the tree has grown to stiffen it. So I think that's what I recommend. So to answer your question, short answer is that start with the 18 to 20 gauge wire and go down go down or go up from there. Thanks for the recipe. And the question is really, can I exchange peat moss for coconut coir or compost, leaf mold? And I say leaf mold compost is excellent material, and so is coconut coir. And the person objects to peat moss is because it's not good for the environment to remove them from the peat moss from the environment. So yeah, coconut coir and compost or any kind of organic material. Leaves, you have to be a little bit careful with leaf mold. For example, in the good old days, they recommended using a lot of oak leaf for planting azalea and adding acid to the soil. Well, turns out they're very stiff and takes a long time to decay, and so you create a lot of holes and porous, and if you water it carefully, it's great. If not, the roots dried out. So a little bit careful, but yes, leaf mold is great. I live in zone 6. Can I take trees inside the winter season? I would say winter season is a good idea because there's no leaves, so the trees are more likely to survive. On the other hand, I think it's really best in your cold weather to wait until the springtime. Then you don't have to winterize your tree because the tree roots are protected by the soil. But once you dig it out, it can freeze over, and that's not so good for the tree. So I would suggest that you hold off until the springtime. And during the summertime, maybe dig around a little bit to force fibrous roots to grow so that you are more likely to get the trees alive. So was it the cypress grown in the ground first. I have some large hackberry in the tree. May I do some air layering or put some seeds in the ground? Yes. I think you can do, as you point out to me, that hackberry you can do root cutting, do planting the seeds, do air layering. It's a really excellent bonsai material. It's really too bad that it's not popular in the U.S. And I was told, one of the audience, I think this is the wonderful part about the bonsai heirloom audience, is that they're providing me feedback to enrich the knowledge of the bonsai heirloom community. There are two kinds of northern and southern American hackberry. Both are excellent material. In fact, maybe better than the Chinese hackberry because they have rough barks. So with that in mind, I have fun answering all your questions today. And thank you for tuning in. Please click like to give me some encouragement. Subscribe to our channel, tell a friend about us, and also write us about with your email address and mailing list so we can notify you of appropriate trees for your area when they're available. So thank you very much. See you next week.